Okay, here's another example of graphing sinusoidal functions with phase shift. And we've got the equation, and we're going to find the graph. So we start with the equation, and we're going to go graph. So let's go to the sheet. Here's my equation right here. I'm going to move this picture up. And the first thing I did was I just rewrote this by factoring out whatever's in front of x. So 2 is in front of x. I'm going to pull that out. So I've got x plus 3 pi. That's going to be helpful. Okay. And next, I just take all the kind of easy stuff out. This is definitely a positive cosine because 3 is positive. We have a cosine. That's the equation form. 3 is just the amplitude. The midline is the 4. Now for the tough stuff. We got to get the phase shift and the period. So remember, the phase shift involves this number right here. And the only trick is that you got to remember to take the opposite. So this is a positive 3 pi, so the phase shift is going to be negative 3 pi. That means it's going to be left of the y-axis. And then we got to do the period, which involves this number 2. Okay. How we get the period is we take 2 pi and we divide it by whatever number is here. So that just ends up being pi. Okay. Now we're ready to go over to our graph because we've got all this stuff taken care of. So the graph, the first thing is a positive cosine equation form. So we start at the peak, head down the midline, dip, midline, back up to the top, the maximum. And next we're going to do the y information. Excuse me. So our midline is 4. That goes right here. We know our amplitude is 3, so we're going up 3 from 4 to 7 to get the max, and we're going down 3 from 4 to getting the min for 1. Okay. Now let's do the x, or the horizontal information, using the phase shift and the period. Okay, the phase shift is going to be the first thing. That's where we start. So right here, it's a little ambiguously labeled, but this is negative 3 pi, right? The first number on the bottom of the box. And then now we're going to use the period in order to get the rest. So we've got to go over pi. And so we're just going to go over pi. So negative 3 pi to negative 2 pi, right? That's pi more than negative 3 pi. And then we just have to we know that this is broken into 4 equal parts. So we just have to use our fractional abilities to find these 3 things. First thing I'm going to do is just find halfway. And what you can do is just average negative 3 and negative 2 pi to get. So negative 3 pi plus negative 2 pi divided by 2. That's the average of those two. And I'm going to get negative 5 pi over 2, or negative 2.5 pi, right? If you wanted to write that as a decimal. Okay, and then these points are just going to be halfway in between this and then this. Okay, so this point right here, I'm just going to average these two together. And this takes a little bit more math. Okay, but I get negative 11 pi over 4 when I do that. I just add them together, divide by 2, get common denominators here, add the fractions, and then I divide by 2, which is the same really as multiplying by 1/2. So I've got negative 11 pi over 4. I could do the other one actually, but this was a lot of work and I don't actually need to, because once I have this point and then this point, I'm going to have the 2 points I need to graph. So this point obviously is negative 3 pi for the x value and 7 for the y value. Now for this point right here, this is going to be negative 11 pi over 4 for the x value and then 4 for the y value. Okay, so you just go back on and graph that. I hope that helps. Yeah, take care.